Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And I'm here for another Monday This and That video. And for those of you who are new, please listen to this next part. These videos are a once a week vlog that I do to answer questions that have come in the last week, give you updates of things going on around here, letting you know of projects and videos yet to come, and whatever I feel like talking about. And yes, I do have step-by-step instructional videos for various things, which is part of the reason why I do these videos, because I have over 2,000 videos here. And in order to let new people know that I do have them, and where to find them. That's one of the reasons why I do this, because I can put the link to that video down in the description box to make it easier for you to find. So don't forget to click on more or show more somewhere down here below the video screen to find any of the links and other information I'll be putting in there. So let's get to the topics of today, starting off with sting and nettle. So some of you may have seen the short, which I will put right here, which again is one of the reasons why I like doing shorts, because they're all ready to go and I can use them over and over and over again in videos like this and more, because the photos are all laid out ready to go. And sting and nettle is one of the first herbs I start to use early in the year, because it's the first one to really start coming in. And so it's big and healthy right now. Those of you in warmer climates, if you're growing sting and nettle, yours might already have bolted and gone to seed. At that point, unfortunately, no, you shouldn't use it. It's best to use before it starts flowering. So I did want to put that out there. But what I'm doing this year with my sting and nettle, since I have a bunch already put up, and I'm giving my garden a rest, but sting and nettle just won't stop. And since it is something I do like to add to the chickens' feed, I will be dehydrating a bunch up and just putting it immediately in the chickens' feed. And the reason I'm dehydrating it is they're more likely to eat it that way. They won't eat it fresh, which I'm sure you can understand. Because once you've cooked sting and nettle, it will no longer sting, and usually dehydrating takes that out. And even if it doesn't, the chickens will still eat it. They love it. Dehydrating doesn't always remove all of the sting, just most of it. But once you cook it, you add it into anything and cook it, it won't sting at all. Somebody recently asked, well, how do you handle it? Well, when I first started growing it, I would put on kitchen gloves, which were frustrating because even the smallest kitchen gloves are always just baggy on me, and because I have such small hands. So now I don't even do that. I just have learned how to handle the sting and nettle when I go to harvest it, and so that I don't sting myself. Well, for the most part, don't sting myself. But there are ways you can handle it. If you're very gentle, pick it up if you have fingernails, or if you handle it by the front part of the leaf, because there's no stingers on the front. But if you squeeze too hard, pinch too hard, the stingers from the back side of the leaf will sting through the front, and then you'll still get got. So there are ways to do it. Most of the time I just kind of put the basket there and just start hacking, cutting this way, and allow it to just fall into my basket. And I should have taken a bigger basket out there. But since it's been cold again, and we've got fires going, I'm planning on just dehydrating this next to the wood stove instead of running my electric dehydrators. So yeah, and then I'll just be mixing it right in with their feed. It's very nutritious for your chickens, your dogs, for yourself. And so I do have a couple of videos out. One's much older about the benefits and uses of sting and nettle, and also I have one it was either last year or the year before on cooking with nettle, which I'll link to down below if you'd like some more ideas on just how to use it in your everyday meals. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about is a question I get, one of the most frequent questions I get when it comes to food storage. And that is about, especially when you're talking about dried foods that I vacuum seal into jars. And even though in all of my videos I never show putting an oxygen absorber in there, still I'll get this question over and over again about whether or not I use oxygen absorbers or even the desiccant packs. And the answer is no. It's always no. I do not use them. I bought them and was trying to use them for a while, and like the grains and stuff I'd seal up into Mylar. Total waste of time. I just gave up on them. Half the time the oxygen absorbers, even if you vacuum seal them into a jar fresh, they still end up just going bad quickly, and I just decided it's not even worth it. But I have never ever used them in my vacuum sealed jars of herbs, vegetables, fruits, and whatever it is I'm putting up. Chocolate chips, beef jerky, I found absolutely no need for either one. As long as your food is fully dry going in there and you get a good seal on your jar, there's no need for oxygen absorbers. Some people still prefer to take that extra step, and that's cool. I just never needed to. I don't see the point. So that's my answer to that real quick. I am going to be shooting a video today though, where I go over some common FAQs on putting up dried foods, especially when it comes to vacuum sealing. So be watching for that. It'll probably be about a month out, because another reason why I do these this and that videos is to keep you more updated to current events, because all the other videos you see throughout the week were shot about a month prior, sometimes up to 6 weeks, just depending on how things are going. Okay, and then next I wanted to, last week, you'll remember I was talking about, I mentioned beef bacon, you know, because I've been making the breakfast sausages, so I can make our own, you know, breakfast meats without having any pork in it. And I mentioned the beef bacon I used to buy at our local store, but they don't carry it anymore. And I said, I keep forgetting to call them. Well, while I was editing that video, it reminded me, oh, that's right, I got to call the store. So I stopped, called the store. They don't plan on ever carrying it again. They just cannot get enough sales, which surprises me, because I know there's plenty of people around here that don't eat pork, and I love Painted Hills beef bacon. I've always thought it was delicious. I like it way better than pork bacon. And so I thought, why don't I just go to the company site and see if they actually will sell directly. And I found out that they do, and I was so thrilled, and they're super nice people. So even though I have Butcher Box and I love their beef and all their other meats that I get from them, I mean, honestly, I like their beef better than any of the local beef I have bought. Now, all grass-fed, all of the beef that we bought locally and through Butcher Box is grass-fed beef. But some of the issues people have with ordering their beef from Butcher Box is it's the one meat that they carry that's not grown here, that's not raised here in the U.S. It's actually raised in Australia. Now, personally, I don't have a problem with that, especially if it's good meat and it doesn't have all the added hormones and so on, and it's grass-fed and raised organically. That's what's important to me. However, Painted Hills is out of Oregon, just a state right below me. So all the meat comes from down there, and it's all hormone-free. And their products are just excellent. So what I found out by going to their site is not only can I order the beef bacon, I can order a lot of the other meats that I used to buy from the local store from Painted Hills. And they do carry their ground beef. They also carry the all-natural beef franks that, no, they don't even use any kind of skin over it. So there's no pork in it at all. Sometimes you can buy beef franks at the store, but the surrounding of it, you know, that they use to hold it together is made from pork. And so that can be a letdown for those people who are trying to avoid pork altogether. But I talked to Painted Hills, and no, they don't use any pork products in their beef. And if you order $250 worth of their meat products, you can get free shipping. So if you have someone you can team up with and do an order with, or, you know, if you just want to stock your freezer, that would be the way to go. So I don't have an affiliate link for them. I don't know if they do affiliates. I haven't asked them. I might down the road, but I will go ahead and link directly to their webpage down below. So I'm not saying this because I make anything commission off of them, but I've used their products for many years back when our local store used to sell them. But they also have some jerky, and yes, I've made jerky for years. I love making my own homemade jerky, but I thought I'd try some of theirs anyway. And so I ordered some beef franks and some beef bacon, and then I thought when I saw these I would give them a try. I ordered 2 packs so we could I could have a bunch to send with Patrick, because a lot of times he's going to his dad's to help him out with various things. And so I like him to have some good healthy snacks to have on the road with him. So anyway, they have the Asian barbecue, the sizzling sriracha, which is my favorite. Look at it. Look at it. It's very spicy and it has an amazing flavor. I love that one. They have the whiskey barbecue, which we did try this one. It's good. I wouldn't say it was my favorite. I have yet to try this one, which is the sweet honeycomb. I have tried the, what was the other one? The Asian barbecue. This one is also very good. So you can buy the variety pack, or you can buy just a pack of one of the flavors if you want to try them. But I do have videos, old ones, on making your own beef jerky, elk jerky, and so on. I've done both. I've done deer jerky. I've done whatever. I've done them all. And I keep saying I'm going to make some more. I just haven't got around to it yet. But I figured I'd just give this a try since I was there. Love it. And it gives me some ideas on my next batch that I'm going to make. Okay, then the next thing, you might see this sitting here. I finally just got this started. I've been wanting to get back into sourdough. I haven't done like traditional sourdough in years. A long time ago, I made my own starter from scratch, made the sourdough, played with it for a while, and it was okay. It was a fun process, but I was never super crazy about it, and neither was Patrick, so I just quit. But I have messed around with using my fermentation starter for the yeast for making bread. It is a longer process than using dry yeast, but it can be a little bit faster than having to deal with sourdough, which it basically is sourdough. It really just depends on how long you allow it to sit and ferment. So this time I'm going to give it a longer process, and I'm just going to, instead of catching the yeast from the air, and that's why different sourdough starters are going to have different flavors, because usually people are catching the yeast from the air, and the type of yeast in your area is all going to be different. And maybe that's why we didn't like the flavor as much. Maybe it had to do with the yeast that is naturally in the air here in our area. So one thing you can do is have better control over the type of yeast, and you can do different experiments using different types of homemade starters, which are super easy to make. So this particular one is both ginger and some dandelion flowers I collected from around the yard. You can make a fermentation starter out of anything. And I decided I am going to be shooting a new video on how to do it, but it is super, super easy. And I've even simplified the process even more. But I'll link to the most recent video, which is 3 or 4 years old now, in the description box down below. But be watching down the road. I will be doing a new one so I can cover a few more questions and just show how simple it is to do. But anything that's fresh or dried but not frozen, it doesn't matter what it is. As long as it's edible, you can use it. It can be peels from anything, just like I make peel vinegar. Right back here I've got dragon peel vinegar. I got 2 jars of that. I've got pineapple peel vinegar, and I've made it from orange peels. I've made it from apple peels, pear peels. Usually I'm using scraps, because that way it gives me something to do with them. Instead of just tossing them, I just use the scraps, cores, pits, peels. And no, I don't worry about the seeds. Stop freaking out about the seeds, including those apple seeds, peach seeds, apricot seeds. Don't worry about it. Just throw the whole pit in there, make your vinegar. It's not going to hurt you, trust me. So at any rate, yeah, you can do the same idea. It's basically the same idea, the fermentation starter, as starting a vinegar. I'm going to experiment with different types of starters. So I'm going to be making more starters, because right now I have a raisin one. Both of them are at least a year old, because you can keep them alive. You just keep them alive and then put them in the fridge. It's super easy. You don't have to keep messing with it all the time like you would with sourdough. You always end up with all this excess. You don't have to worry about that with this. I am going to make a couple more and then try making breads from all the different ones and just see what different types of flavors I end up with. And I'll keep you updated on that process. But what I can do, besides linking you to the fermentation starter, I'll link you to the last video I did on making bread with a fermentation starter. And I've made pizza crust with it too. This in this picture right here is a pizza I made using the fermentation starter to make the pizza crust. And it turned out really good. Okay, and then I just wanted to share something. Is my youngest grandbaby, Rowan, just turned 1 this last week, and I wanted to put a couple pictures that her mom had done of her, and I love these photos. They're just so beautiful. But she's 1 year old already, but she's still very tiny. She's probably about the size of a 6-month-old. She was tiny when she's born. She's still very tiny, but that's okay. I was never a big person either. I'm right at 5 foot, but I'd be surprised if she passed me up in height. She might. It could happen, because her other grandma is actually quite tall. So she might just catch up someday. But she's healthy, she's smart, and she's just a precious little thing. But now she's getting where she's into everything. So yeah, she's becoming more work when she's around here. And then another thing I want to emphasize is that because I do a lot of videos on herbal remedies. I talk a lot about what works for us. I do a lot of studying into different herbs and their different benefits. And that a lot of it is so that I can learn. And while I'm learning, I'm sharing that information with you. But that in no way makes me a doctor, nor am I licensed in any kind of natural medicine. This is just me sharing with you what I've learned so far, and I'm always learning new things. So sometimes I'll get people that will send me this long list of ailments they have, and then expect me to have a cure for everything, but I don't, unfortunately. But I do keep working on compiling information and doing different videos. So this is why I have the playlist of natural remedy lists for different ailments. So I have one for diabetes, one for hypertension. We have a couple that we did on the thyroid and what we did so we could stop taking the medication. And we haven't taken it in 12 years now. We quit the medication 12 years ago. Just all kinds of different things. Dealing with menopause, cholesterol, and so much more. And I compile all that so you can watch those videos. I actually type out the list so you can print it off for yourself. And then you can look into each thing yourself, because what works for one person is not going to work for another. And so a lot of this stuff for each individual, even if I was licensed in this stuff, I could say, well, I know this works for so-and-so, but it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. That's why you got to know all of these different things and learn for yourself. And that is why I also put it together a video a few years ago on how to do your own research, because I know sometimes it's just difficult to know where to start when you start trying to look into these things. And sometimes things are getting harder and harder to find information on. So I'll link to that video down below as well. So as well as that playlist I mentioned, if you want to skim through there. But that way you can just kind of get an idea on, okay, now I know where to start, because you're going to have to base it off your allergies, off any medications that you're on. And it seems like every day there's some new disease popping up, and I've never even heard of. So I can't answer all of those questions, but I do the best I can. Well, that's it for my this and that for the week. So if you have any questions you'd like me to cover in next week's video, go ahead and put them in the comments down below, or any thoughts, tips, ideas you would like to share, put those down there as well. And thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.